Hello, my name's Niranjan, the host of Master of Your Crafts podcast, learning from leaders who are continuously inspired, passionate, and driven to align with their soul purpose, sharing their gifts to bring healing to others. The music is composed by Rebecca Everett.
Hello and welcome to episode number 108. I got to have a delightful conversation with Dr. Lynn Carey, a chiropractor and somebody who'd earned a bachelor's degree in nutrition from Life University. The recorded conversation that I had with Dr. Lynn was based around her experiences of 18 years of chiropractic, but also when she traveled to Brazil and India. She loves to empower people and create their desired life in health, wealth, and the perfect way of self-expression. She shared her story not only in how she's living her life as an entrepreneur, but also fulfilling her own dreams in how she wants to raise her son and who she wants to be in supporting others on their own healing journey. I hope that you get to enjoy this conversation as much as I got to have it with Dr. Lynn. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Lynn. How are you, Lynn?
Good. How are you, Niranjan? Thank you for having me today.
I am great. I am curious and excited to get into a conversation with you about your own healing journey through not only the traditional aspects of life of what we've been taught to do and how to live and how to be, traditional schoolings, type of living, yet it's taken you on a trajectory to really redefine that for yourself. What do you believe about yourself? And does it define who you are?
I do believe that your beliefs manifest your reality 100%. And I look back at my whole life. As a child, I definitely questioned what I was being taught through my schooling, through my parents, through religion. I questioned it all because it really didn't make sense. I didn't really find happiness through it. And I believe this eventually led to me. I was diagnosed at 14 with scoliosis, which is the curvature of the spine.
Mhm.
And I have later come to find out that one of the emotional causes of your spine being pulled in two directions, right?
That's right.
It's going in two directions. Mine was an S shaped. So I was pulled in two directions, definitely. What was something inside of me was saying there has to be more to this than what I'm being shown, but yet there was another pull saying, oh no, this is the way it is, you know? So I believe there was definitely an aspect of that going on. And I just followed, we did everything that the traditional medical world said. And I ended up having a year later after I was braced, went through all that ordeal. And I ended up having spinal surgery where they put the Harrington rods in my spine to try to straighten it. And I never had symptoms before, but afterwards I was sick all the time and pain and all kinds of things. My immune system was very compromised. And they never correlated to the surgery. They always told me the surgery was a success, but they never knew why I was sick all the time. So I was either on painkillers or antibiotics, something, and I just kind of was at a point where I guess I'm living like this. And I was only a teenager. It went on from like 15 to 19. And I was just in college doing what I was told. The next step, you got to go to college to be successful and get a job. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And I was very depressed. Not only was I feeling this pain, but the depression, it was like a kind of like a catch 22. I think one fueled the other. And then someone just told me to look into chiropractic. And I just read a pamphlet on chiropractic, and it said the power that made the body heals the body. And I thought it was like the first time I heard truth. And I thought, why hasn't anyone told me this all this time? And I just went. I didn't even get adjusted. I didn't even really know what I was getting into, but I just went to chiropractic school and it changed my whole world.
Mm. Mhm. How did it change your world from just that one sentence?
Well, it started a journey. So
Mhm.
I decided to to go to chiropractic school. And when I got there, I started learning a whole different way of viewing how the body works, how healing works. And I started getting adjusted. And it was not a quick fix. It wasn't that, oh, I got adjusted and all my problems went away. It was understanding the process of healing, that it takes time, that you have to kind of undo some of the stress that's been in there for a long time
Mhm.
to get the body back to where it was. It's about getting in tune with your own energy again and
Mhm.
feeling again, because I was very disconnected after having that kind of surgery, especially because it was very traumatizing. Um, it was losing the fear that because there was a lot of fear that I'm going to be like this forever. So I lost the fear that I couldn't get better. That was gone. I knew that I could get better. I had a new perspective that sometimes you feel more pain before you get better. There's an inner wisdom that is always running your body. I mean, as we're sitting here, all our organs are working, right? And
Right.
we're not consciously doing it. So
Yeah.
it's about getting back in tune with that aspect of ourselves and honoring
Mhm.
what is your body trying to tell you? What is it doing? Symptoms aren't bad. It's a way of your body communicating with you, healing itself, rebalancing itself. So it just between the body work and the mental, the shift in the mindset, it changed everything. And losing my fear, that I started to
Mm.
heal. And this was a
Mm.
process of a couple of years at least, and ups and downs and feeling more, maybe new things would come up for me in my body. And, but making the emotional and mental connection too with the symptom was also, I think, huge.
Right.
So that was the journey that it started.
Was there other layers of support that you leaned into during that time period? So I would imagine there's the whole academic situation, your professors, your colleagues, and who can support you in understanding the new perspective or the newfound perspective. Did you embark and engage with other practitioners, modalities, tools that worked possibly in tandem for everything to happen together?
I think I was very blessed in the respect that I was in a chiropractic world, and it wasn't just academic. It was a very much, of course, the academic was there, and we were
Mm-hmm.
learning the whole like what the medical world knows too, because we had to pass all these national boards and
Sure,
get our
sure.
license and all these things. But there was a huge philosophical portion. And I know this isn't in all chiropractic schools. So I was very blessed to go to a school that was very philosophically sound.
Mm-hmm.
And people had a whole new mindset on health and wellness. And so I felt that support, because if I was still in pain or the pain would get worse, people would say it just takes time to heal because you've been like that for so long. So I had that emotional component. And all I had was time, because I had already tried everything else for years. So there was a piece of me that was already at surrender, which I think was huge. So the
Right.
combination of that chiropractic cocoon, me already experiencing everything else that didn't work, and only having time, right? It was
Mm.
I think I was very blessed to have all those dynamics in place for the transformation at the time.
Yeah. What a beautiful opportunity for you to witness that and to be held in that way um, through that journey.
Definitely.
What do you feel is your calling,
I
or
feel the
perhaps
most
one of your
passionate.
callings?
Yeah. I mean, I feel the most passionate sharing empowering things with people. When I found like, just when I heard that first truth, the power that made the body heals the body, it was like it broke the matrix there for me at that
Mm-hmm.
moment. I didn't understand that at the time. But it also allowed me to know that I knew that I knew. I knew there was something else. So it allowed me to go very deep in my spiritual journey, my healing journey, the physical, the mental, the emotional aspect, but also to apply that questioning to other areas of life, business, money, relationships, mindset, all these things, there was another way of viewing all of them. And I think, when I got out of chiropractic school, I was like ignorance on fire. I thought, I'm going to open up my practice and I'm going to change the world, because I realized everybody, they're not happy because they don't know the powers within them and they can heal themselves, and they're struggling with the diseases and all this kind of stuff, and they don't need to. But I was rudely awakened that I realized not everybody was ready to hear what I had to say. And I realized it was none of my business. And I had to learn to let people have their own evolutionary process. And if they wanted to know, I share with what I knew. And the best I could do was be an example of my best self, to keep working on myself, because you change the vibration, you raise the energy. And so that was been my journey. And then the last 3 years happened, and I felt very sad to see people living in so much fear, and also my freedom of the way I take care of my body and my health. I mean, I walked away from the medical world 25 years ago, because I saw a lot of the things that were going on were not good, wasn't good. And so it really kind of came to a head 3 years ago. And that's why I decided to share my story. That's why I wrote the book. I wasn't planning on writing the book yet because I didn't feel like my story was done, but I knew that aspect was strong, the healing part, the physical part. I wanted to share with people that they could heal themselves. I felt like people needed more stories of empowerment and positivity. And now I feel more than ever we're at a place where there's a consciousness shift going on right now. So I think the more of us who are tapped into that, the more we talk about it, the more we give verbiage to it, the more we try to share the experience, so it helps other people in their process too.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. Do you feel that enhancing for yourself as you integrate on a deeper level for yourself?
With sharing the story?
The philosophy?
Yeah, definitely, because it makes me apply it more every day, focus it into expressing it more, because there was a lot of times I didn't have words or verbiage for what I was doing, especially the chiropractic part. People want to know, what did you feel? What did you do? I didn't have words. It became a knowing. My hand would know where to go. It was energy. I could feel this energy flowing through my hands, flowing through the person. And I thought, we are all energy. This is just an energy thing, and and I'm also still working on the other aspects of my life, integrating all these things, business, money, relationships, things like that. I'm still a work in progress. It's our evolutionary, it's an evolutionary process. So
it is. It is a process. But I always say that's part of the deal that we bargained for when we came here.
I agree.
Wasn't going to be easy. It's going to be some rough roads, but that's what we all signed up for, because otherwise, why would we be here? It won't be as enjoyable, right?
That's right. I mean, even like if I could consciously choose now, if I was to make a decision like about my spine and having the surgery now, would I choose that today? No, it wouldn't work for me today. But would I change that experience? No. I mean, it is given me so many blessings and so many awakenings, and where I am within my body and my healing, I feel so blessed because of it and what it's opened up for me. So I wouldn't change it for the world. And I think that's how a lot of times when we move through those hard times in life, eventually you look back and like, oh, it really was a blessing there. It was giving us a gift. We're having an awakening there.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always that silver lining, even though it can be very painful for us to go through it. But the key is we must go through some of those painful pieces in order for us to learn the big lessons that we signed up for. So yeah, absolutely. What do you feel were some of the attributes that connect you with your purpose now?
I think embracing the pain, maybe not being afraid of the pain, is one of the key things that I took away from. Like, just because you're feeling more pain doesn't mean that things are getting worse. So that's you can apply that to every area of life, right? If you're in the fire of something, maybe you're really getting close to the breakthrough. and we have to embrace all emotions as we go through them. I think the shift is not getting stuck in the lower vibrational realms of energy or emotions, that just knowing that they're okay to feel. And as soon as you feel them or allow them to come through, you automatically raise your vibration and go back to your natural state of grace or love or the higher vibrations of joy and happiness, or peace again. But I think a lot of us, we fight. We're so afraid to feel. We have fear to feel the pain or the heartache or whatever's going on or the trauma. So we keep pushing it, and that's where you end up staying because you hold on. You end up getting stuck in that spot, and it just perpetuates itself. So I think that's one of the main things that you can apply to every area of life is really just feel what you need to feel in the moment, so that it can teach you what it needs to, and then you can move on from it.
Do you find that people may get stuck, for the lack of better terms, in the lowering vibrational frequencies that you've just referenced? So the sadness, the pain, the depression, the anxiety, all those lowering megahertz of frequencies. Because what we know is that's going to show up again. So it's showing up on a Monday. We can witness it, raise our frequency, and Tuesday hits and here we go again. We raise our frequency, Wednesday hits and here we go again. Do you feel, or do you find, or have you found that people say, well, why do I need to even raise my frequency? I might as well just stay here because this is it. These are the cards I've been dealt. I might as well just stay low and only lift my frequency just a small amount because the drop down won't be as harsh.
I think that they're dropping down again so much is because they're not really fully embracing that side. I think a lot of times we're still in a place. I find that you get stuck is when you're resisting it and not fully going through it. But also you can't expect if you've been in that state for many years, you can't expect to just drop it overnight. It's like starting an exercise program. You raise your tolerance a little bit each time you go to the gym, that kind of scenario, if that makes sense to people. If you look at even a 30-day window, if you do a little bit each day, eventually you're going to shift your vibration and you're going to notice that you have more positive vibrations during the day than you will negative. So I think, but it's also, you really have to, if a lot of darkness is coming up, I know after I had my son, I kind of feel like I went through a dark night of the soul and just wasn't able to embrace the positive side like I normally had found I could. And I realized I had to really work with the old stuff. It was like childhood stuff coming up, like survival issues. And I took a course, a home course. It was the Sedona method.
Yes.
And I had to do it for I did it 6 months straight every day. I journaled. I did the questions. I journaled every day. So I even tell people you can journal those feelings every day, write them down, and just write them down. It's not like you have to fix them, but because it gives you a place to honor that emotion because it's serving you. And we want to label it as bad. So if you can just allow it to come through and really hear what it has to say and be okay that you're feeling that, it's going to shift. And then all of a sudden you're going to feel lighter. And you're going to notice eventually it reaches a critical mass where the pendulum swings and you're going to start to feel more positive emotion every day, more than you will feel all those lower vibrational emotions.
It's an interesting process. It's one I advocate for, to find healthy cathartic ways to look at that pain, create a space, create a dialogue, create an environment that's safe for you to release whatever's showing up, but also to be really aware and cognizant of why it's showing up. Because from my perspective, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why those emotions are showing up. Whether one can fathom or digest that there is a bigger karmic lesson at play, and it's up to us to be able to unravel that. not only for our own soul evolution, but also for the evolution of our lineage, ancestors, but the collective at large as well. So it's biting as much as you can chew, baby steps, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with. Very well said.
Because it can get very overwhelming really quickly when somebody's in a dark place.
Oh, totally. That's why I think it's important to get the help you need, to find the right support. Mine, I found in a course at the time. I had the chiropractic world when I was going through my initial journey. You go through different stages, and I think it's important to find the support you need. It's just kind of like a mentor, someone to help you move through that time, whether it is a book or a course or a person, a body worker, a healer. But I always say to somebody, just know that you don't need to become dependent on that tool.
Right.
It's to help you move through that period. And then you may outgrow that person or that system, and you find the next thing that uplifts your spirit, so it's being aware of that. Because I felt that as a chiropractor, I felt like a lot of people wanted to come in and they just wanted me to fix them. There's that mindset, we just go to the doctor and we get fixed, just take away my pain, tell me what to do, tell me what's wrong. And I didn't come from that perspective. I felt like I had to reorient people's perspective. Like, you decide when you want to come. Why do you feel the way you feel? What's going on in your life? And I realized a lot of people were disconnected with what was happening in their life, the stress level, and what was going on in their body. And I was trying to bridge the gap bridge the road, two aspects for them.
Yes. And in all fairness, it's the natural causes of the world that we live in. We've been nurtured in an environment to dictate to us that if it's broken, we'll just put a bandage on it. That's it. Isolate it, put a bandage on it, and that's fine. Rather than unraveling the other spectrums and using a holistic approach, essentially, because there's much more involved with that. So it's the environment we live in.
That's exactly what I learned as I was learning what the medical world, their philosophy versus our chiropractic philosophy. I realized they like to give medical terms to all the symptoms that you're feeling, because that's how they know how to either give you the drug that matches or to cut it out. And that was the extent of their healing knowledge. They really didn't get the holistic perspective. And it was very shocking to me, but it all made sense from what my experience was and why there was so much missing for me and why it didn't help.
Right.
And then connecting these other aspects were so huge. But we live in such a fast-paced society, right? This rat race of the matrix is set up to we don't have enough time. We don't have enough money. We have to get to a job. We have to take care of our families. We don't have time to heal. So that's why people just want the pill, the quick fix, because they have to keep juggling all these things in their life. And for me, that was important to unravel that aspect, the lifestyle, because I figured that's where it all kind of kept perpetuating itself.
Yeah. It's opening the awareness. It's being present. It's being aware of, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling? What's actually happening, rather than living on autopilot. And I mean, there's so many people who do. I mean, I've been testament to that a number of years ago too. But in the same token, it's through those small portions of awareness that you take your power back. You take back control of what is it how you want to move through the world. So you talked about wanting to empower and share your story and gifts with other people by writing your book and doing the masterclass. What other intentions do you have with sharing your story? What is the optimal outcome that you desire from these conversations?
I just want to help people remember the greatness within. So my book is called My Journey to Grace, because I had an awakening during my first 5 years in practice where I went into this higher state of awareness that I call grace. And it lasted for about 18 months. And I would just define, the only way I could define grace is just this high vibrational love space where all human judgment subsides. And it's like falling in love, but there's no other person. You're falling in love for no reason. It's not like you have a new relationship, or even there was no reason on the physical outside, but it was this space. And I realized this is what we're all looking for, that high love vibe. I believe that is our true natural state as a soul, as spirit, as source, as one. That means we're all one.
Yeah.
And when you remember that's what you're searching for, it's not the next job, it's not the next amount of money, it's not the next healing modality. You're looking to tap into that space and feel that grace, that peace. And then when you feel that, once I experienced that, I realized I wanted my outer world to match my inner world. And I knew I had not really set up my outer life to look like that space because it wasn't conscious. It was what I was being told I should have. Right. So I really wanted to shift that. So I just I learn my people's stories. I love people sharing their stories because I think it's practical. Oh, what did she go through? And because you can relate to a lot of people's stories, and I think that's what I wanted to share my story and just remind people that that power is within them. And that's what they're searching for, that grace state, and that they can be, do, or have anything they want. They're creating their own reality. And when you're going through the hard times, not to feel so desperate or afraid or alone. Just know that that's normal and it's okay. And that there are tools to help you cross over to the other side to find that freedom and that love and that peace again.
Yeah. It's so crucial, but it's an easy part for us to forget.
Yes.
With the world of distractions and that being amplified even more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people might not find it in their own family, sometimes, or your friends, especially when you have your awakening, all of a sudden you find that you can't relate to the people around you. I think that's kind of normal at first. I had that experience and I had to kind of search out what I was looking for in other ways. So.
Absolutely. So what's next for Lynn?
I don't know. I'm just I feel like after the last couple of years, I did a lot of, the last 3 years shifted my direction a little bit from what I was doing, because I got very involved with understanding our Constitution and government and local county government and what's going on, and educated myself on that and became involved in the local government. And I learned so much. So I'm grateful for that because I found truth there too. So it's like I'm always on this mission to find truth in every aspect of life. It started with the healing, with health, and then I really dug into financial stuff. I wanted to understand the truth behind money.
Yeah.
And now this other piece of finding the Constitution and our basic civil rights and things like that, it's very empowering. So now I feel like I'm at a very much point of surrender. I feel like maybe all these aspects are really integrating for me and coming together into so not do I only just feel it within, but now it's like integrating the outer world with the inner world in a whole nother level. I think that's what's happening right now. And I believe there's a collective too, like a collective consciousness that's happening. I really feel that. And I feel like I'm getting back to, I guess it's all a spiritual journey, but for me, I was definitely focused outward more the last couple of years. Now I feel myself turned inward again. In a good way, I feel that, okay, like the surrender and that grace state again. And I feel like it's manifesting in a whole nother realm for myself right now in my personal life. So I'm grateful for that. It's a blessing.
Yeah. So it sounds like another cycle, another wave.
Yes.
Another season of growth and evolution. What do you feel is the mastery of your craft with what you've learned coming into this second, third, fourth phase?
I think it's actually really integrating all these areas of of life where I could still feel myself in the lower vibrational aspects of maybe money and relationships more, like the outer world of it being separate. Now I feel like there's an integration of the health, the money, the relationships, the mindset. It's all of it is shifting to a higher frequency. Whether I don't know what kind of dimensions, and I don't know if we, it's kind of human to label things, right? I think when we're in the higher realms, there's no labels, but to just try to get verbiage, again, there's that place of trying to find words. I think it's going from 3D to 5D, all of it. I feel a shift of full integration of actually living from that space instead of trying to figure it out or maybe doing little steps. It's like there was a quantum shift of, okay, here it is. Now you're raising it all up and you're going to be able to live from that space. Because I really believe we don't have to live from the struggle. Nothing wrong with the struggle. But I believe we can also live from the expansion, the joy, the freedom, and grow and create from that space. It doesn't have to be so hard and painful and the suffering. I think I'm moving out of that.
Right.
And into really just experiencing true creation in the joy that it can be.
Right. So the mastery of that craft would be what for you?
I mean, that's it. Living from the joy, all the time, like living from that higher state and really feeling the creation and the manifestations in those higher vibrations. When you need something, it manifests as you need it. It's a flow. There's a divine flow when you're in those higher vibrations. And I could dip in and out of it.
Right.
Where I feel like this is becoming the norm, if that makes sense, versus, you experience it once in a while and you're figuring out how to get there. And it's like you're in and out and you're still having this other muck come up. But now it's like, you're just living it. It's the new norm, right? That's your new way of life. I think that's the shift happening.
Beautiful.
That's the mastery.
Of the awareness, perhaps. Recognizing when you're in and when you're out and how to go back to it.
Yes.
To recognize, to stay in alignment.
Yep. Because when you're out, you're not freaked out anymore that you're out. It's just, it's a flow. And you honor it. You're not struggling against it anymore.
Right. It's ultimately all an experience, right? Regardless whether you define it as third dimensional, fifth, 8, 12, whatever you want to call it. And as souls having this experience, we're here to have experiences.
I just heard someone describe it as we're learning to play with the frequencies. I love that. I thought that was a great description of what it is. We're learning to play with the frequencies here.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a different language that we all need to learn. So we're back in school all over again. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing your story, your journey, your vulnerability in your own experiences and your intentions for what is it you want others to gain from this conversation. So thank you very much for sharing. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having the platform for me to do so and having me on your show. It was an honor and such great questions.
Yeah.
To really dive in to help people understand.
Absolutely. We're here to share. We're here to learn. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm Naranjan, and you've been listening to Master of Your Crafts podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and join me next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.